Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, sir. Yes, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, sir.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's great. Do you know what we have discussed, what we are discussing in the last class? What we were discussing in the last class?
In-file statement.
Automatic
In-file
variable.
statement options.
In-file statement options. Okay, we have done with in-file statement, right?
Yes.
This is my data. I want to create a data set. I want to. Can't you see my screen?
No, sir.
How about? Nobody
No,
can see my
sir.
screen?
Yes, sir. Visible.
You can see, sir.
Visible, sir.
Yeah. Rajesh Migar, can you see my screen now?
Sir.
Okay. This is my data. I want to create a data set. Now I'm writing the program data set name. I want to have a data set name weight club. I'm writing data weight club, semicolon. Then in file, what we should write in the in file statement, anybody?
Data lines.
Very good. Data lines,
Data line.
semicolon. Now input ID number, I want to have name character variable dollar symbol. Then I want to have a team character variable dollar symbol. Then I want to have a start weight. Then I'm writing the end weight. Okay, keeping a semicolon. Then I'm writing the data lines. Now, finally, if you want, you can keep a semicolon. Now write the run statement. Now tell me, when we write the in-file data lines? Anybody?
When we have
When we have in-stream data or raw data, both are same, right? You know, if you do we require any in-file statement options for this data, like DSD, DLM, or DLMSD, flowover, missover, scanner? Do we require anything?
Missover.
You know, when we require missover, when we have a missing value like this one. But when you are representing a missing value with a dot symbol, you no need to have a missover. Here, since we have a dot symbol, SAS can understand it is a missing value. Okay, if you don't have this dot also, then you require missover. But if you have a dot, you do not require missover. Okay. Now, do you require any in-file statement options now? No, isn't it? Okay, we do not require any in-file statement options.
No, sir.
So in that scenario, if you do not write in-file statement, now SAS can understand by default. If you do not write in-file statement, SAS thinks the data is in-stream data. Understand what I'm saying? If you do not write in-file statement, by default, what SAS thinks? The data is in-stream data. Now here we do not have any problem. 1023 will go to ID number, David will go to name, Red will go to team, 189 will go to start weight, 165 will go to end weight. So in each and every record, I have 5 values. Here we have 5 variables. Each value will go to one variable. Now if I execute this program, now what is the data set I'm going to have? I am going to have weight club data set. In the weight club data set, I am going to have 5 variables. and 6 observations. Understand this one?
Yes, sir.
Now tell me, I want to create a data set from a text file which is present in SAS data folder. Here we have a demo1 text file. I want to create a data set from here. I'm copying the path. Now how we can create a data set? You know that every day we are doing that one. Now I am writing data. I want to have a data set name EMP. Then you have to write infile statement because you need to specify path of a text file. In this scenario, you should write the infile statement. Infile statement is mandatory because you need to specify path of the text file. Now I am writing the input statement. I want to have EMP ID. I want to have a name character variable $symbol, age sex character variable $symbol. Then I want to have a salary. Finally, I want to have location $symbol semicolon. I am writing the run statement. Now select the entire program and execute the program. Yes, we are going to have EMP dataset. And this dataset is going to have 6 variables and 23 observations. Now, I want to create a dataset from an Excel sheet. Here I have an Excel sheet called cars. I want to create a dataset from this one. Shift right click, copy as path. Now go to the program. Now tell me how to write a program. Proc import data file is equal to path of the text, path of that Excel sheet. Then out is equal to data set name. Now I'm writing out is equal to, yes, I want to have a cars. DBMS is equal to XLS. If you want, you can write the replace semicolon run. Now execute the program. Yes, we are going to have a cars data set in the work library. You know that more or less we are going to write the same program for CSV file also. Isn't it? We also write the same program for CSV file.
Yes.
Now, and after this one, I want to create EMP1 from EMP. How you will write the program? Data EMP1 semicolon set EMP semicolon run. Now we have almost have written all kinds of creating a data set more or less. Now can you please tell me in which scenario you require infile statement, in which scenario you require input statement, in which scenario you do not require input statement?
In text
When we require input statement,
In-stream and
For
text.
in-stream data and also from the text file data if we want to import.
very good. When you're creating a data set from in-stream data, we require input statement. When you are creating a data set from text file data, we require input statement. But when you are importing an Excel sheet or a CSV file, or when you're creating a new data set from existing data set, you do not require input statement. Understand? So we require input statement only when we are creating a data set from in-stream data or text file data. And then later, what I am writing in both the scenarios. What we are writing in the input statement? What we are writing in the input statement when we have in-stream data or text file data?
Variables.
Very good. To specify the variable names, we use input statement. So here also I'm writing a variable names in the input statement, and here also I'm writing the variable names in the input statement. So that means we use input statement to list out the variables or to specify the variable names. And not only that one. Now, can you tell me, say for example, you don't know that you didn't see the data. Now, can you tell me by seeing the variables names, can you predict how the data is going to be in the in-stream? So that means in the data, what is the first value that we have in the in-stream data? ID number.
ID number.
And what is the second value that we have in the data?
Name.
What is the third value in the data? Team value. So that means what you can understand by seeing the input statement, or input statement describes the arrangement of data. So that means it will tell you how the data has been arranged. That means in the in-stream data, we have ID number values first, then we have a name values, then we have a team values, then we have a start weight, and then we have an end weight values. Understand? Now, can you tell me, by seeing this program, what are the values? So what are the order of the values in the demo1 text file? Demo1 text file lo data ఎలా ఉందో చెప్పగలరండి by seeing these values, by seeing these variable names? So that means in the text
employee
file,
name.
we have employee ID values first, then we have a name values, then we have a age values, then we have a gender values, then we have a salary values, and
location.
finally we have a location. That means
Location.
what input statement is going to explain it to you? Input statement will explain or it describes the arrangement of data, how we have the data in the text file. Understand this one? So we write input statement when we have in-stream data or text file data, and we use input statement to specify the variable names, and input statement describes the arrangement of data. And not only that one, this input statement along with in-file statement, okay, this input statement along with in-file statement, it reads data values into variables. It reads data values into variables. So empid is going to have empid values 101, 102, 103, like that one, and name is going to have a name values, age is going to have age values, and so it reads data values into the variables. So if someone asked you how we can explain input statement requires, requires when we have data in stream or text file. And input statement is useful to specify variable names. Okay, and it describes the arrangement of data. The data. And finally, along with in-file statement, it reads data values into variables. This is what you can say. Understand this one? So now in today's class, we are going to discuss about input statement. Today and tomorrow's class, we are going to discuss about input statement. Okay, now this is my data. I want to create a data set. You know that I want to have a data, say for example, I want to have a data set name called weight club. So I'm going to delete the previous data set to avoid the confusion. Now you do not require in-file statement at all, because by default SAS thinks it is in-stream data. Directly I'm writing the input. I want to have ID number, name, $symbol, team, $symbol. Then yes, I want to have a start weight and I want to have an end weight. So here I have 6 observations, 6 subjects who involved in the weight reduction treatment, and their starting weight and their ending weight, and the team they participated, the name and ID number. And finally, if you want to keep a semicolon, now write the run statement. Here, we do not have any complications. You know that I told you in the previous classes also, it will start reading from here. What is the rule? I told you, space or 8 characters, whichever comes first, it will stop there. Now 1, 0, 2, 3, we have space. 1, 0, 2, 3 will go to which variable now?
ID number.
ID number. And after the space, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 space. Now tell me, David will go to which variable now?
Name variable.
And very good. After the space, again it will start here. 1, 2, 3 space. Red will go to which variable?
Team variable.
Very good. And again it will start here. 189 space. 189 will go to which variable?
Starting weight.
Start weight. And after the space, 165 space. 165 will go to which variable?
End weight.
End weight. Now, so here I have 5 variables. Here I have 5 variables, and here I have 5 values. These 5 values will go to 5 variables. So this record will become one observation. Listen, if anybody doesn't have that any queries, you can keep your mic on mute. If you do not have any questions, you can keep your mic on mute, please. Thank you. Now, in the second line also, I have 5 values. These 5 values will go to 5 variables. So this line is going to become 1 observation. So in the input data, I have 6 lines. Each line will become 1 observation. So if I execute this program, yes, I'm going to have 80 club and I have the data. Now I have a little small complication. I have like this one, David Shah. I have Amelia Serino. I have Alan Nance. I have, say, for example, Ravi Sinha, Ashley McKnight, and I have, say, for example, Jim Barrow. This is my data. Now, can somebody tell me if I execute this program, what will happen?
Read 8 characters.
Name variable read only 8 characters.
I told you space or 8 character, whichever comes first, it will stop there. Isn't it? Now see again what is going to happen. 1, 0, 2, 3 will go to which variable?
ID number.
ID variable.
ID number. And after the space, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I told you if you do not have anywhere space, maximum how many characters it is going to read?
8 characters.
8 characters. So DAVID SH will go to SHA will go to which variable?
Name variable.
Variable.
And what is going to happen to this W?
Ignored.
Goes into team.
That will be get ignored. That will be get ignored. And now after the space, red will go to team, 189 will go to start wait, and 165 will go to end wait.
End.
Now coming to that second line, 10449 will go to ID number, and again see what is going to happen now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. AMELIASE will go to name variable, but the remaining part will be get ignored.
Ignore.
Because the maximum it can read only 8 characters or space, whichever comes first, it will stop there. So that means if I execute this program, yes, I'm going to have weight club data set, but can you see how we have the name values?
8 characters.
David Shah, we do not have a complete. Amelia Serino, we have only AMELIASE. Alan Nance also we do not. Ravi Sinha, we are not getting because by default, SAS can read only 8 characters. Understand? So what we should do when we have more than 8 characters? Now I have one more problem.
Empty statement.
See, this time I have like this one. David space Shah, Amelia space Serino, Alan Nance, Ravi Sinha, Ashley McKnight, and Jim Barrow. Can you see how we have the name values? Each name contains 2 words, first name and the last name. Now tell me, according to your current knowledge, how we can explain if I execute this program, what is going to happen? Now we'll see that one. Again, 1, 0, 2, 3 will go to which variable?
ID number.
ID.
Very good. And after the space. So now tell me, what is the rule for name variable now? Space or 8 character, whichever comes first, it will stop there. Now see, now I'm writing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, space. Tell me, David will go to which variable?
Name variable.
Very good.
Name
That
variable.
will go to name variable. And after the space, again it will start here. 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. Shah will go to which variable now?
Team
Team
Very
variable.
good. Team variable. Because the next variable is a team. So Shah will go to team. Now after the space we have red. 1, 2, 3. Red will go to which variable?
Start with.
Ignored.
Cannot exist.
So
No.
red should go to start weight.
Sir,
But
but-
unfortunately, start weight is a numerical variable. It cannot read the character data. So you will get a period symbol. You will get a dot symbol or a period symbol. Now after the space, now 189 will go to which variable?
End weight.
Start with.
It will go to end weight. End weight end. Red should go to start weight, but it couldn't able to read it. You will get a period symbol. So now 189 will go to which variable? End weight.
Start weight.
So then what
End
is
weight.
going to happen to 165? 165
Ignored.
will be get ignored because
But sir,
here I have only 5 variables. After the end variable, we do not have any variable. So this will be get ignored. See again one more time what is going to happen. 1023 will go to ID number. David will go to name. Shah will go to team. Red will go to start weight, but unfortunately it cannot read it. And then 189 will go to end weight. Panishri, we are getting background noise from your side, Panishri. Keep your mic on mute, please. Okay, so 189 will go to end weight, but 165 will be get ignored. See, if I select the program, execute the program, so this is the weight club data set I'm getting. Now, can you see? David go to name, but Shah is going to team. But actual team value will go to which variable now? Start weight. But since the start weight is a numerical variable, it cannot read the character data. So that's why we are getting the period symbol. So now start weight is going to which variable now?
End
End
weight.
weight.
End weight.
What happened to end weight? End weight has been ignored.
Ignore.
Ignored.
So that means I am not getting the data properly. I know David Shah is one name. We should read into name variable, but SAS is thinking an otherwise because by default SAS thinks space is a delimiter. The value which is present before the space will go to one variable and after the space will go to one variable. But I know this entire thing is only one value, but SAS cannot understand. Understand what I'm saying? So we have two problems here. If you have more than 8 characters also, SAS cannot read that one. Okay, and if you have embedded space, so if you have a space within a one value, SAS thinks these are the two different values because according to the SAS, space is the delimiter. Then what we should do in the scenario? Now, it depends upon the data, how we have the data, how the data is coming. Based on that, now we are going to use different types of input statements. ఏం చేస్తామండి డేటా వచ్చిన దాన్ని బేస్ చేసుకుని we use different types of input statements. And what are the input statements or methods that we have? So depends upon the data, we are going to use different types of input methods. And the first method that we have is called column input method. And the second method that we have is list input method. And in the list input method, we have two methods. The one is simple list input method, and the second one is advanced list input method. And the third method that we have a formatted input method. And the fourth method that we have is named input method. And the fifth method that we have is null input method. And finally, we have a last method, which is called mixed input method. So we have 6 different types of input methods. Depends upon the data, we are going to use any one method. Sometimes for one data, we can use multiple methods. Now in that scenario, as a SAS programmer, it's up to you. You can choose any one method to read the data properly. Understand this one? Now, when we can use each method? So we'll see one by one. Now, this is my data. I want to create a data set called weight club 1. This is my data. I wanted to create a data set called weight club 1. So now I'm writing a program. Data weight club 1. No, because by default we do not require a DSD or a DLM or a DLMSTR. You do not require anything. So you no need to write in-file statement at all. Now directly I am writing the input statement. Yes, I want to have ID number. Then I want to have a name. So $symbol. Then I want to have a team $symbol. Then I want to have a start weight. Then finally I want to have end weight. Semicolon. Then I'm going to specify data lines. And finally, keep a semicolon. Now write the run statement. If I execute this program, am I going to get the data or not? Will I get the data or not?
No.
No.
Why? Why?
Team is
We will get the data,
But
but not
spaces are
complete.
there.
data, but start with is dot. So
Now I am asking the
Not like
question,
that.
why we don't get the data? Give me an explanation.
We will get the data, but it's
We
not
have
in
the tab
properly.
space. We had a tab space between name and team data, and also
Okay.
we are going to have space within the name. So the other part of the name goes to team variable. So that is how we won't get the data properly.
That's good. 1023 will go to ID number. And then after the space, what are the next variable that we have in the input statement?
Name variable.
Name. So you know the rule, space or 8 characters, whichever comes first. Now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 space. David will go to which variable?
Name variable.
Name variable.
And after space, what are the next variable that we have in the input statement? Team. 1, 2,
Team.
3, 4. Shah will go to which variable? Team.
Team.
Here it is not in a tab space, but red will go to which variable now after the space?
Start variable.
Red will go to start weight, but it cannot
Start
read it.
weight.
It cannot read it because start weight is a numerical variable. You'll get a period symbol, and after that, now tell me 189 will go to which variable?
End weight.
End weight. So that means start weight is going into end weight. But what will happen to end weight? 165.
Ignored.
Ignore.
That will be get ignored. So this is what we have explained so far. This is what your knowledge is. That is what exactly going to happen, because you know what is going to happen, isn't it? But now I want to read this David Shah into one variable, name variable. By the way, sometimes when we are going to have one value, say for example, in this scenario, David Shah is only one variable name. What is that variable name? Shah. Sorry, name. ఇదంతా కూడా ఎక్కడికి వెళ్ళాలండి ఇప్పుడు డేవిడ్ షా అనేది అంతా కూడా ఎక్కడికి వెళ్ళాలండి నేమ్ వేరియబుల్ లోకి వెళ్ళాలి ఇదంతా ఒకటే వాల్యూ sometimes we are going to have a space within a value. If you have a space within a value, we call it as an embedded space. What do you call it as an embedded space? అంటే ఒకే వాల్యూలో కనుక విత్ ద వాల్యూలో కనుక స్పేస్ ఉంటే we call it as an embedded space. So here all these 5 names contains embedded space. Because of embedded space, SAS is thinking this is one value, this is another value. But I know David Shah is only one value. Now, but if you carefully observe this data has some speciality. You know what is the speciality? In each and every line, how many lines of data that we have here? 5 lines, right? In all the 5 lines, if you carefully observe, all the ID numbers are starting from same column in each and every line. You know, by the way, what do you mean by column? You know, if you have a line in a page, if you start writing something, one character పట్టే స్పేస్ ఉంటుంది చూడండి, దాన్ని ఒక కాలం అంటాం. I wanted, say for example, apple, APPLE. I started extremely from left side. I have written A in the first column, P in the second column, another P in the third column, this is the fourth column, and this is the fifth column. So a line is going to have a number of columns. So what I'm saying now, in all the 5 lines, name is starting in the same column. How do you know that it is starting in the same column? Now can you see, if I keep my cursor here, can you see my cursor is blinking? Everybody could able to see this one?
Yes.
When my cursor is blinking, now can you see on the right side down of my SAS software here, can you see what the column number I'm having here?
1.
sir.
1. If I keep in the second line before the ID number, now can you see what is the column number I have?
1.
1. So that means in all the lines, ID number is starting from the same column. If the values are starting from the same column in all the lines, we call that data is in aligned manner. ఏమంటాం దాన్ని మనం ఎలా ఉందంటాం డేటాని?
Aligned manner.
Data is in aligned manner. Data aligned manner లో ఉందని చెప్పి పిలుస్తుంటాం. Now, again, if I go to the name, if I keep my cursor before the starting of the name value David Shah, now can you see what the column number I'm having?
6.
Right side down, 6. If I keep my cursor before the Amelia Serino, now can you see column number?
6.
6. So that means in all the lines, so if I keep my cursor before the value, every time the column number is 6, that means the name in all the lines are starting from the same column. That means the name values are in aligned manner. It doesn't matter where the values are ending, but all we need to know where the values are starting. Now, if you go to the red team, if I keep my cursor here, can you see what the column number I'm having there?
25.
25. Now,
25.
in the second line also, the value is starting from the 25. In the third line also, the value is starting from the 25th column. So that means in all the lines, the team value is starting from the same column. So that means the team values are in aligned manner. In the same way, start weight is also starting in all the lines from the same column, which is 32. The end weight in all the lines, it is starting from the same column, which is 36. So that means here in this in-stream data, all the 5 variable values are starting from the same column. That's why we can say this data is in aligned manner. So even though the values contains embedded spaces, but since the data is present in aligned manner, now we can use a input method called column input method. By using column input method, we can read this data successfully into weight club 1 dataset. And how to read this one? We can define, we'll write the definition later. First, we'll see how we can use this one. Now, in column input method, what you'll do? In the input statement, after each and every variable, now what I'm going to do? Now, can you see where the ID number values are starting in all the lines?
Column
One.
1.
So now,
First column.
in the input statement, after the ID number variable, I will give one space, at least one space. Now I'm going to specify column number 1. Then I will specify hyphen. What is the ending column? Say, for example, see, this is 1 column. So second column, third column, fourth column. So that means if I keep here, my cursor number is 1, 2, 3, 4. You should keep before the last value. If I keep my cursor here, this is the 4th column. That means, can you see what is the column number I'm having here?
4.
4. So what should I do? In the input statement, after the ID number, you need to specify 1-4. So 1 is the starting column, 4 is the ending column. That means from each and every line, first column to 4th column, whatever the data that we have, read the data into which variable now? ID number variable.
ID variable.
ID number variable. Could you able to follow everybody? Understand this concept?
Yes, sir.
Now, the second variable that we have in name. Before the name value, I'm keeping my cursor here. Now, can you please tell me what is the column number I'm getting here?
6.
6. Now, what should I do now? I'm writing now. Now, name. Could you able to see my screen?
Sir, your screen is no, sir.
Not
Oh,
visible.
somebody started sharing their screen. I don't know who did. Now, can you see my screen now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
That's great. Now, so before name is a character value dollar symbol. Now, all the name values are starting from the same column. Can you see what is the column number I'm getting? If I keep my cursor before the name?
6.
6. So name is a character variable dollar symbol, and after that you should write a 6 hyphen. What is the longest name that we have out of these 5?
Ashley.
Last
McKnight.
one.
Ashley McKnight.
Last.
Now the last one. Before the last character of the last name, if I keep my cursor here, now can you tell me what is the column number I'm getting?
20.
20. Now you should specify 6-20. That means can't see my screen.
Sir, screen కనబడట్లేదు సార్.
The same problem for everybody. I can see my
No,
screen
sir.
in the mobile.
No,
No,
sir.
sir. No, sir.
No.
I can see.
Okay. Okay. Now, from the 6th column to 20th column, whatever the data that we have, we should read the data into which variable now? Name variable.
Name variable.
If you have a data, it will read the data. If you have missing value, you should read the missing value. But why should I write 6 to 20? Because if you want to get the longest name also, you should require at least from 6 to 20. Other names are not that much lengthy, but still, if you want to get the complete data, you should write the 6-20. Now then what we should do for the team variable? If I keep my cursor here before the starting of the team value, now can you see what is my cursor number am I having? 25. Now team character variable dollar symbol, then you should write the 25 hyphen, the longest value that we have in yellow. If I keep my cursor before the W, what is the column number I'm getting? 30.
30.
So 25 hyphen 30. So that means from 25th column to 30th column, I want to read the data. I
Sir,
want to, yes.
for name instead of 20, like if we give till 24, will it make any difference, sir? 6 to 24.
If I keep my 6 to 20, what is the length of this variable now? The length of this variable is 15.
Yes. Sir.
By default, what is the length of the variable? 8, right? But if I
Yes.
write the 6-20, now the length of the value is 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. That means the name variable length will become 15.
Yes. Okay.
But if I specify 6-24,
Yes.
it is going to become 19.
Okay.
Unnecessarily, I'm keeping 4 bytes, etc. Extra.
Like, okay, data set, like in future, if it is used or so, we won't keep that buffer like that, sir. Based
No, you
on
won't get, because unnecessarily, why should we lose some extra memory? I require only 15, so I'm going to read only 15.
Okay.
In the worst case scenario, I require only 15. If you want, you can keep 24 also. But what is going to go? We are going to have this space also. We don't require that one, right? So that's why I'm going to keep to only 6 to 20.
Okay. Okay, sir.
So here I could able to save 4 bytes of data.
Okay, sir.
Understand?
Yes.
Okay. Then I want to read the start weight. If I keep my cursor before the start weight, can somebody tell me what is the column number that we have?
32.
32.
So start weight. So numerical variable, you notated the dollar symbol, then 32 hyphen. Now if I keep my cursor here, what is the ending column that we have?
34. 34.
Now, so 32 to 34. That means 32nd, 33rd, 34th column. Whatever the data that we have, I want to read the data into which variable now? Start weight. In the same way, if I keep my cursor before the end weight, what is the column number I have?
36.
36. If I keep before the last value, last digit of end weight, what is the column number I'm getting?
38.
38.
So that means after the end weight, I'm going to specify 36-38. So after writing all this, I'm going to delete previous data set. Now I'm going to select the program. I'm going to execute the program. Yes, we are going to have weight club 1 data set. Now, can you see if I open the data set, now in the name variable, I have David Shah as name, Amelia Serino. That means the two names are coming into the same variable. Actually, the proper team values will go to team variable. The start weight value will go to start weight variable, and end weight values will go to end weight variable. Understand this one? This is how we can read the data when the data contains embedded spaces. But if the data is in aligned manner, what is the method that we can use? We can use column input method. Now tell me how we can define column input method. In the column input method, we specify starting column hyphen ending column after each and every variable in the input statement. Now these columns will tell you from which column to which column you should read the data into that variable. isn't it? సో ఏం చేస్తాను కాలం ఇన్పుట్ మెథడ్ లో ఇన్పుట్ స్టేట్మెంట్ లో ప్రతి వేరియబుల్ తర్వాత ఆఫ్టర్ ఈచ్ అండ్ ఎవ్రీ వేరియబుల్ వాట్ యూ విల్ డూ యూ విల్ రైట్ స్టార్టింగ్ కాలం ఐఫన్ ending column. So those column numbers will tell you from which column to which column you should read the data into that variable. So what is the condition if you want to use a column input method? If you want to use a column input method, the data should be in aligned manner. Say for example, if my data is not in aligned manner, say for example, చూడండి డేవిడ్ షాకి టీమ్ కి సింగిల్ స్పేస్ ఉందనుకోండి, రెడ్ కి స్టార్ట్ వేట్ కి సింగిల్ స్పేస్ ఉందనుకోండి, single space. That means what does it mean? Here the data is not in aligned manner. That is not in aligned manner. So if you have it aligned manner, can I use a column input method? See, can you try this one? Now I'm writing data. Yes, I want to have a weight club 2. Now I'm writing the input statement. I want to have ID number, name character variable dollar symbol. Then I want to have a team character variable dollar symbol. Then I'm writing the start weight. Then I'm writing the end weight, semicolon. Then I'm writing the data lines. Now finally keep a semicolon. Will you get the data? First of all, no, you won't get that because the name contains embedded space. But I want to use a column input method, so I'm writing 1-4. Name longest value that we have Ashley McNair. If you want to read that one, what you should do, you should specify 6-20. Now the team, if you want to read that one, now I'm going to specify, say for example, 25-30. And start weight, say for example, I'm going to specify 32-34. Or I'm writing end weight 36-38. What will happen if I execute this program now? So 1-4, that is fine. Name ki chodandi, starting column, ending column em ichchanandi 6-20. Here 6-20. But if you write 6 and if this is the 6th column, and here this is the 20th column. So this entire part will go to which variable now?
Name variable.
Name variable.
Name.
Means what is happening here? Even the team value also will go to team value కూడా ఎవరికి వెళ్ళిపోతుందండి ఇప్పుడు?
Name variable.
Then team I specify 25-30. So this is the 25th column, I guess. Yeah, this is the 25th column to 30th column. So then what is going to happen now? Here, do we have the team value? No. So tell me, if you want to use a column input method, how the data should be? Data should be in aligned manner.
Aligned manner.
Then only we can use this method. Understand everybody?
సార్
Yes.
ఇది ఇప్పుడు ఐడి నంబర్ ఉంది, నేమ్ ఉంది కదా, అంటే ఐడి నంబర్ లో 1 to 4 ఇది ఎగ్జాక్ట్లీ మనం డేటా రన్ చేస్తే వచ్చేస్తుంది కదా డైరెక్ట్ గా. సో
Yes.
ఇప్పుడు దానికి నంబరింగ్ పెట్టకపోతే ఏమైతుంది? డైరెక్ట్ రాదా? అంటే
పెట్టకపోయినా
నంబర్ అవసరం
వచ్చేస్తుంది.
లేదు కదా,
పెట్టకపోయినా వచ్చేస్తుంది.
వచ్చేస్తుంది కదా. అదే.
వచ్చేస్తుంది.
అంటే మనకి
అప్పుడు ఏం
ఎక్కడెక్కడ
చేస్తారంటే
కావాలో అక్కడ పెట్టుకుంటే
అక్కడ కూడా పెట్టుకోవచ్చు. అప్పుడు ఏం మెథడ్ అంటాం, మల్టిపుల్ మెథడ్స్ వాడతాం, దాన్ని మిక్స్డ్
Correct.
ఇన్పుట్ అంటాం. ప్రస్తుతం నేను ఏం చేస్తానంటే కాలమ్ ఇన్పుట్ మెథడ్ వాడుతున్నాను కాబట్టి ఎవ్రీవేర్ ఐ యూజ్ కాలమ్ ఇన్పుట్ మెథడ్.
ఓకే.
ఇక్కడ ఐ విల్ టెల్ యూ దట్ వన్ డ్యూరింగ్ ద మిక్స్డ్ ఇన్పుట్ మెథడ్. ఓకే, యూ నో నీడ్ రైట్ కాలమ్ నెంబర్స్ ఫర్ ఐడి నెంబర్ ఎనీవే బికాజ్ ఐడి నెంబర్ లెంత్ ఎంత ఉందండి? ఓన్లీ 4 ఉంది.
4
నార్మల్ మెథడ్ లో కూడా రీడ్ అయిపోతుంది.
అదే.
ఓకే, ఐ విల్ డిస్కస్ దట్ వన్ డ్యూరింగ్ ద
మనకు
మిక్స్డ్
అవసరం ఉన్న
ఇన్పుట్
దగ్గర
వాడుకోవచ్చు. That we'll see in mixed input method. Now, what are the other advantages of a column input method? Now I'm taking the same data again. Now, so now I want to create data set. I'm writing data. I want to have a weight club 2. Then I'm writing the input statement. I want to have ID number. I do not want to have ID number first. I want to have a team. So far, in the last few classes, I mean, almost in all the classes, every class, how I'm writing the variable names? Every time I'm writing the variable names in the order of the data. In the order of the data. Since we have ID number first, always in the input statement, what I'm writing? ID number.
ID number.
Then what is the second variable I'm writing? Name. Because the second value we have a name. What is the third variable I'm giving every time? Here in this scenario, team, because we have a team value in the third position. and then I'm writing the start weight. I am writing the end weight. Why I'm writing in that way? Because we have data in that order. But in today's class, now I want to have a team variable first. Now I'm writing the input statement, team variable first. Since a team is a character data, dollar symbol. Now, if you want to get the team values into this variable, from which column to which column we should read the data? If I keep my cursor here, 25. Now see, now I'm writing 25-30. Then I want to have end weight. Now I'm writing end weight variable. End weight, I want read from, where the end weight values are starting.
36 to 38.
36-38. Then I want to have a start weight. Now I'm writing the start weight. I want read from 32nd to 34 because start weights are starting from 32nd column to 34.
25 to 30.
Team variable name 25.
Yeah, 25 to 30.
25 to 28.
Okay.
36.
Okay.
Team
25 to 30. Yeah. Then I want to have ID number. Now I'm writing ID number 1-4. Then finally, I want to have a name. Name is a dollar symbol character variable. I'm going to specify 6-20. Now I am writing the data names. So that means what you can understand from this one. What you can understand from this one. Now in the column input method, we can write the variable names in any order. Anyway, because after each and every variable, I am specifying the column numbers. Now SAS can take care of it by seeing the column numbers. Exactly, it will go to that column numbers and it will get the data only from that column. So since I have a team $25 to 31st, it will go to 25th column to 30th column and it will get team value. Then end weight, we have 36-38. Then it will go to 36th column to 38th column and it will get the end weight. Then it will go to 32nd to 34th column. It will get start weight. Then it will go to first column to fourth column. It will get ID number. And finally, it will go to 6th column to 20th column and it will get name value. So that means when you're writing a column input method, you can write the variable names in any order. So now in the weight club 2, first I'm going to get the team, then end weight, then start weight, then ID number, then name. Can you see we got the data successfully? So that means what is the second advantage of column input method? We can write the variable names in any order. Anyway, since we are specifying the column numbers, starting column and ending column after each and every variable, SAS can understand from which column to which column we should get the data into that variable.
Sir,
Understand this one?
మళ్ళీ చెప్తారా సార్?
This one.
Yeah.
When you do not have a data, when the data is not in aligned manner, you cannot use a column input method. చూడండి ఇందులో లాంగెస్ట్ నేమ్స్ నేను రీడ్ చేయాలి, సక్సెస్ఫుల్ రీడ్ చేయాలంటే నాకు ఎంత ఎక్కడి నుంచి ఎక్కడ దాకా కావాలండి? చూడండి ఒకసారి నేను కర్సర్ పెడుతున్నాను. లాస్ట్ టైం ఎక్కడ కొట్టేయడం 6th కాలం దగ్గర నుంచి ఎంత వరకు రీడ్ చేయాలండి?
20
వరకు.
మరి ఇప్పుడు 6 to 20 పెట్టామనుకోండి, ఎవ్రీ టైం 6th కాలం నుంచి 20th కాలం వరకు నేమ్ లోకి వెళ్ళాలి. కానీ ఫస్ట్ రికార్డ్ లో 6th కాలం టు 20th రికార్డ్ ఎవరెవరు వస్తున్నారు?
టీమ్స్ కూడా వస్తుంది సార్ దాంట్లో.
నేమ్ వాల్యూ, టీమ్ వాల్యూ కూడా ఎవరికి వచ్చేస్తుంది? ఇప్పుడు నేమ్ కి వచ్చేస్తుంది. మరి టీమ్ కి ఏ కాలం నుంచి ఏ కాలం ఇచ్చాను చూడండి. 25th కాలం టు 30th కాలం ఇచ్చాను. చూడండి ఇక్కడ ఎక్కడో 25th కాలం స్టార్ట్ అవుతుంది. చూడండి ఇక్కడ నుంచి 30th కాలం అంటే ఇక్కడ టీమ్ వాల్యూ ఉందా?
లేదు.
నో
సార్.
ఎస్
సార్, ఆ కాలమ్స్ అనేది మనం లెక్కట్టు సార్ అది.
సో కెన్ యూ సీ ఆన్ ద డౌన్ హియర్ వి కెన్ సీ ద కాలం నెంబర్స్.
Where, sir?
Here, down, right side down. My cursor is there. No, can you see cursor position?
Yeah. Okay, sir.
Here you can see it. Understand?
Okay,
line number 81, column number 20. Here you can see this one.
Okay, sir.
You know to see, if నేను cursor ఇక్కడ పెట్టాను అనుకోండి, కాలం నెంబర్ చూసారు ఎంత వస్తుంది ఇక్కడ?
అవును సార్. 1 వస్తుంది.
This is the one. If we keep my cursor here, చూడండి లాస్ట్ వాల్యూకి ముందు పెట్టాలి. లాస్ట్ వాల్యూ అంటే ఇక్కడ పెడితే కాలం నెంబర్ చూడండి ఎంత వచ్చిందో?
4 వచ్చింది సార్.
సో అందుకే 1 to 1-4 రాస్తున్నాను ఇక్కడ.
ఓకే సార్. థ్యాంక్ యూ సార్.
సార్ కెన్ వి కీప్ ఆఫ్టర్ 3
డేటా ఇలా ఉంటే ఈ కాలం ఇన్పుట్ మెథడ్ వర్కౌట్ అవుతుందా?
అవ్వదండి. ఇలా ఉంటే అవ్వదు. ఎందుకంటే డేటా నాన్ అలైన్డ్ గా ఉంది కదా. అంటే ఊరికే నేమ్ వాల్యూ కరెక్ట్ గా కాలమ్ స్టార్ట్ అవుతుంది. టీమ్ వాల్యూ చూడండి, ఇట్ ఈస్ నాట్ స్టార్టింగ్ ఫ్రమ్ ద సేమ్ కాలమ్స్ ఇన్ ఆల్ ద లైన్స్. సో వీ కెనాట్ యూజ్ కాలమ్ ఇన్పుట్ మెథడ్ హియర్.
ఓకే సార్.
Sir, can we keep the cursor after the 3, sir?
ఆఫ్టర్ 3 పెడితే ఎంత అవుతుందండి? ఇది కూడా వచ్చేస్తుంది 5th కాలం. చూడండి ఇక్కడ కర్సర్ పెట్టింది కదా, కర్సర్ నెంబర్ ఎంత ఉందండి?
1, sir.
1 అంటే దిస్ ఈజ్ 1.
1.
దిస్ ఈజ్ 1.
Yes, sir. First column.
ఇప్పుడు కర్సర్ ఇక్కడ పెట్టాను అనుకోండి, ఇది ఏమవుతుందండి? ఇప్పుడు 0 ఉన్నది ఏంటవుతుంది? సెకండ్ కాలం అవుతుందండి. కర్సర్ ఇక్కడ పెడితే 0 ఉంది, దిస్ ఈజ్ ద సెకండ్ కాలం. ఇది థర్డ్ కాలం, ఇది 4th కాలం. అంటే 4th కాలం అంటే రిప్రజెంట్ చేస్తానికి ఆ లాస్ట్ క్యారెక్టర్ ముందు పెట్టాలన్నమాట, అప్పుడే 4th కాలం అవుతుంది. మళ్ళీ ఇక్కడ పెట్టాను అనుకోండి, ఇది ఏ కాలం అవుతుంది? ఇది 5th కాలం అయిపోతుందండి.
5th column.
So you should keep before the last value.
Okay, sir.
Clear everybody?
Sir, column numbers matlab same రాశారు కదా అక్కడ.
What is your question? Yes.
Sir, column numbers మాత్రం సేమ్ రాశారు కదా. టీమ్ 25 to 30 అన్నారు కదా, ఇక్కడ 5 ఉన్న దాంట్లో కొంచెం ఇంకా కాలమ్ నెంబర్స్ ముందుకు ఉంది కదా సార్.
అందుకే ఇక్కడ మనం యూజ్ చేయలేమన్నాను. You cannot use here. We cannot use column input method here. Understand? What is the difference between this data and this data?
They are aligned.
ఈ డేటా అలైన్డ్ మేనర్ లో ఉంది, ఇది నాన్ అలైన్డ్ గా ఉంది. నాన్ అలైన్డ్ గా ఉంటే కాలమ్ ఇన్పుట్ మెథడ్ వాడలేము. చూడండి, ఈ ప్రోగ్రామ్ ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ చేస్తే యూ వోంట్ గెట్ ద డేటా. చూడండి, వెయిట్ క్లబ్ 2 యూ విల్ నాట్ గెట్ ద డేటా. కెన్ యూ సీ డేవిడ్ షా రెడ్ కూడా ఎందులోకి వచ్చేసింది? చూడండి, నేమ్ లోపలికి వచ్చేసింది. సో వీ కెనాట్ యూజ్ దేర్. If data is non-aligned, we should use some other method. We'll see that one later. So we can use only column input method when the data is in aligned manner.
అదే అది రాలేదా? అదే వచ్చింది.
No, you won't get this data. రాదని చెప్పడం కోసం రాసిన ఈ ప్రోగ్రామ్. అంటే what is the rule? The rule is data should be in aligned manner. The condition.
Okay.
Sir,
only one variable, sir.
ఏదండి?
మనము ఇన్పుట్ ఈ నంబర్స్ ని ఒకటే వేరియబుల్ కి యూజ్ చేయొచ్చు సార్.
చేయొచ్చండి. That is called the mixed input method. We'll see that one maybe day after tomorrow's class. Now, what is the third advantage of column input method? See, this is my data. I'm creating a data weight club 3. I'm writing input statement. You know, input statement any variable names రాయాలండి? ఏం వేరియబుల్స్ రాయాలి?
5.
We should write
ID number.
ID name.
ID number, name, team, start weight and end weight, right?
Yes, sir.
I do not want to create all that variables. I want to put this entire line into one variable. See, simply what I'm doing, I want to have variable name called text. I want to have it as a variable character variable. See what I'm writing? I'm writing 1-38. Can somebody tell me what is going to happen now? What will happen?
It will come in
whatever the data that we have between first column to 30th column, this entire data will go to which variable now?
TXT variable.
Only TXT variable. So that means what you can understand here, you can create a variable with any length, whatever the length you want to, you can create. Now, can you say I am going to have only one variable called text? So all the 5 values now will go to only one variable. Understand this one? So you can create a variable with whatever the length you want to, you can create it. So now tell me, what are the 3 advantages that we have with the column input method? We can read data with embedded spaces. Understand? And we can
change the order.
We can read variables in any order. In any order. Or what is the third one? We can create a variable Variable
Variable with any length.
variable of any length. These are the three advantages we have. But what is the condition? Data
should be in
should be
aligned manner.
in aligned manner. Aligned manner. This is the character. This is the condition you should require. Understand this one, everybody?
Sir, I have a doubt.
Yes.
ఇప్పుడు మనం ఎక్స్ట్రీమ్ డేటాలో అరౌండ్ 2000-4000 అబ్జర్వేషన్స్ ఉన్నప్పుడు ఫస్ట్ అబ్జర్వేషన్ ని ఈ అలైన్మెంట్స్ అంటే వాల్యూస్ కి తీసేసుకోవచ్చా? అంటే అబ్జర్వేషన్ అలైన్మెంట్స్, డేటా అలైన్మెంట్స్.
Generally, if you have any stream, so when we use input statement, by the way, can you tell me? When we use input statement? When we have any stream data or text file data. So when we have a data in a text file, you should search what is the longest value that we have. And according to that, you should specify the column numbers. You should not take the only first one. You never know. Maybe 10th observation or 200th observation may be the longest value. In this scenario, can I take the first two as an length? No. You should always take a worst case scenario. So you need to search for the worst case and that the longest value, and based on that only we need to specify the starting column and ending column.
So at that situation, how to apply longest observation? How to ensure longest observation?
So you have to do it manually. Say for example, if you have a text file, say for example somewhere here I have a say for example, where do you have that one? Here I have a folder. In that folder I have a text file, and I should go to the text file and you should check what is the longest value there, where we have the longest value. So where we have the longest value, say for example here I have a longest value, this one, and I'm going to keep my cursor here. Now can you see what is the cursor number I'm getting here? Can you see the column number?
9.
9. And I will go to the longest value. Here I have the longest value. If I keep my cursor here, can you see what the column number I'm getting?
291.
I should write 9-291. Clear, Hamchandra?
Clear, sir. So
This
if you apply that column input method, ensure all data before applying column.
Yes. Generally, in the specification, they are going to mention it, or otherwise you have to check it. See, this is my data, okay? This is in-stream data. Now, can you say, this is for project class I did in the morning. Can you say what are the column numbers I have? What is this method I'm using? Column input method. 9-291. So from the 9th column to 291st column, whatever the data that is the worst case scenario that we have. Here with the shortest value here, it is ending here itself, which is a 66th column. But you should always make sure that you should consider only the longest value. Understand this one? Now, if I go this program, see, we are going to have a common data set, and this is how we are going to have the data. Can you see? I got the data successfully into a data set.
Yes, sir.
This is how we are going to do it. Clear, everybody?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
We'll continue in tomorrow's class. Any doubts, anybody? But we are not having longer sessions, no? That is the problem we have, no? If it is 1.5 hours, it's going to be good. So in future, maybe from next week onwards, we are going to have 1.5 hour long sessions so that we can cover more topics in one class. Okay? I'll make sure that having a longer sessions.
Yeah,
Okay, and please try to connect at sharp 7 o'clock so that we can have the extra time. Yes?
Sir.
Yes, Sumar, and you saying something?
No, please take
Sir,
long.
yesterday I'm asking about task folder, sir. To send.
Somebody had sent
message.
it. No.
No.
So I seen somebody. Yeah, in the WhatsApp group. You are not in the WhatsApp group.
7 p.m. Srinivas sir WhatsApp group sir.
Yeah,
sir.
So that means like somebody has sent, it's today. I had seen that one.
Srinivas 7 p.m. online.
7 p.m. March Srinivas 2022. That is the batch.
No, sir. I added in this Srinivas 7 p.m. online March 22.
No, ask them to add 7 p.m. March Srinivas 2022. That is a common. Okay.
Sir.
7 p.m.
Okay.
March. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thanks.
Okay, guys. Yes. Every day. Yesterday I copied it somewhere, right? Where did I copy that one? That is a problem for me. Which one?
Log notes.
No. I think this is not the one.
No, sir. Down demo is there.
This is code. I posted in a with a notepad, right? No?
Yes, sir.
You have copied in Notepad.
What is the name I had given? Any idea? Maybe I might have deleted. So I'm going to post it from today onwards, okay? Every day. Okay then. See you tomorrow, everybody.